The most dangerous financial position isn't being poor. It's looking rich when you're not. We are living through the rise of what I call the fake middle class, where high salaries are being swallowed by the cost of keeping up. In this video, I'm showing you the math behind the illusion and how to escape the trap before it's too late. Picture this. A woman in Dallas makes $92,000 a year. On paper, that's a great income. Above the median. The kind of number that would have made her parents' generation feel completely secure. She drives a leased SUV, has a 2-bedroom apartment near downtown, orders food a few times a week, and posts vacation photos twice a year. Everyone assumes she's doing fine. Meanwhile, she has $400 in savings, $11,000 in credit card debt, and lays awake some nights doing math in her head, wondering how a paycheck this size still disappears by the 20th of the month. That's not a rare story. That's the median story. And it's the entire premise of what we're talking about today. My name is Ely, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people in the U.S. experience money psychologically. If you're someone who earns a normal income, maybe even more than you used to, but still doesn't feel financially secure, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I promise this isn't going to be another lecture about lattes or avocado toast. This is about something a lot more uncomfortable and a lot more real. Here's the thing. We've been trained to measure financial health by income. Somebody says they make $80,000 and our brain immediately files them under doing well. But income was never the right measurement. It was always a proxy, a stand-in for something else, security. And for most of American history, that proxy worked reasonably well because the cost of security used to move roughly in line with income. Rent was 2 or 3 times the median salary, not 7 or 8. Healthcare came bundled with a job and rarely bankrupted anyone. A car was a purchase, not a permanent $400 monthly subscription. So income being high correlated with actually being fine. Now look at what's happened instead. According to Federal Reserve data on household economics, a large share of American adults, something in the range of 1 in 3, say they could not cover an unexpected $400 expense using cash or its equivalent. That's not a statistic about poor people. Survey after survey shows this discomfort shows up across income brackets, including households earning 6 figures. Bureau of Labor Statistics data on consumer spending shows that housing alone now eats up around a third of the average household's total spending, and for renters in major metro areas that number is frequently much higher. Add in a car payment that now averages somewhere around $700 a month for a new vehicle, according to industry financing data, and you start to see the shape of the problem. The dollar amount of income went up. The dollar amount required to simply function went up faster. This is where it gets interesting, because the math is only half the story. The other half is psychological, and it's the half nobody talks about on finance content, because it's less flashy than a stock tip. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain does not evaluate money in absolute terms. It evaluates money in relative terms, constantly, automatically, without asking your permission. Psychologists call this a reference point. You don't feel rich or poor based on your bank balance. You feel rich or poor based on the gap between what you have and what you're comparing it to. And in 2026 America, that comparison point is being fed to you constantly, through your phone, through your coworkers, through your neighborhood, through the version of normal that social media manufactures every single day. This is why a person making $75,000 in a small town can feel completely secure, while a person making $130,000 in a city with a competitive social scene can feel like they're constantly behind. It's not about the number. It's about the reference point attached to the number. The American Psychological Association's annual Stress in America survey has repeatedly found that money is the single most cited source of stress for adults, more than work, more than family conflict, more than health, and it stays that way even as wages rise. That should stop you for a second. Wages rising and stress staying flat, or even increasing, is not something the traditional just earn more advice can explain. But psychology can. Now you might be thinking, okay, but if I made more money, surely I'd feel less stressed, at least for a while. And you're right, for a while. This is where we need to talk about something researchers call hedonic adaptation, but let's use a simpler picture instead. Imagine your financial comfort as a thermostat. Every time your income rises, the thermostat doesn't just register warmth and stay there. It resets itself to expect that new temperature as the baseline. A raise from $60,000 to $75,000 feels incredible for about 3 months. Then your brain quietly recalibrates. The new apartment, the nicer car, the slightly better restaurants, they all become the new normal, and the comfort fades right back down to the same emotional temperature you had before the raise. This isn't a character flaw. This is a documented feature of how the human brain processes gains. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York has published research on this exact loop appearing across income levels, showing that lifestyle spending tends to expand in near lockstep with income gains, particularly in the years immediately following a raise or promotion. So here's the uncomfortable realization building underneath everything I've said so far. The fake middle class isn't a group of people pretending to be rich on purpose. It's a group of people who are financially exhausted while appearing financially fine, because the entire system, rent, car financing, credit access, social comparison, is engineered to make lifestyle expansion feel automatic and reasonable, one decision at a time. Nobody wakes up and decides to overextend themselves. They make 5 or 6 small, sensible-sounding decisions: a slightly nicer apartment because the commute matters, a car because the old one was unreliable, a subscription because everyone has it, a credit card because it covers this month's gap. And only when you zoom out do you see the pattern. Each decision made sense individually. Collectively, they built a lifestyle that requires the entire paycheck to survive, with no room for anything unexpected. Let's put real numbers on this, because vague statements don't stick, but math does. Say someone earns $78,000 a year, which lands them close to the national median for a full-time worker according to recent Bureau of Labor Statistics wage data. After taxes, that's roughly $5,800 a month. Rent on a modest one-bedroom in a mid-size American city runs around $1,600. A car payment plus insurance is close to $600. Groceries and eating out combined land around $700. Health insurance premiums and out-of-pocket costs, even with employer coverage, often run $200 to $300 a month. Add utilities, phone, streaming subscriptions, a gym membership, minimum payments on existing debt, and you're already at roughly $4,800 in fixed and semi-fixed costs. That leaves about $1,000 of so-called discretionary income, and that $1,000 has to cover savings, emergencies, gifts, travel, and every unplanned cost life throws at a person in a given month. One car repair, one dental surgery, one plane ticket for a family emergency, and that entire cushion is gone. This is not a person being irresponsible. This is a person earning above median income and still living one bad month away from debt. Now, here's where the psychology and the math truly collide, because this $1,000 cushion doesn't just get spent on emergencies. A significant portion of it gets spent maintaining the appearance of stability. Psychologists who study financial behavior point to something called identity spending. Purchases made not for utility, but to preserve a self-image, the image of someone who is doing fine, someone who isn't struggling, someone who deserves nice things after a hard week. This is why financial stress and financial denial often travel together. The stress makes people want relief, and the culturally approved form of relief is spending, which quietly deepens the very problem causing the stress in the first place. It's a closed loop, and it's one of the main reasons a decent income can coexist with constant anxiety. You might be thinking, so what's the alternative? Just suffer and save every dollar? No, that's not sustainable, and it's not the point of this channel. The point is recognizing the loop so you can interrupt it deliberately instead of unconsciously. And that starts with redefining what financial security even means to you personally, instead of borrowing the definition from your feed, your coworkers, or your zip code. Here's a practical shift that actually works. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" which your brain will almost always answer yes to if the monthly payment is small enough, start asking, "Does this purchase reduce my number of financial decisions or increase them?" A car payment increases your monthly decision load for 5 to 7 years. A paid-off used car decreases it. A credit card balance increases it every single month until it's gone. This reframing matters because financial stress isn't just about dollar amounts. It's about mental load, the constant low hum of tracking, juggling, and worrying about multiple financial obligations at once. Reducing the number of moving pieces in your financial life often reduces anxiety more than an equivalent increase in income would. A second practical step is building what I call a floor, not a goal. Most people fixate on a savings goal, $10,000, an emergency fund, some big number that feels far away and abstract. Instead, build a floor, the smallest amount that would let you handle one bad week without panic. For most people, that's somewhere between $500 and $1,500 sitting untouched in a separate account. It's small enough to be achievable within a few months, and psychologically, having even a modest floor changes how your brain processes financial risk. Research on financial well-being consistently shows that having even a small emergency buffer is more strongly correlated with reduced financial stress than raw income level is. Third, before your next raise arrives, decide in advance what percentage of it you'll actually let your lifestyle absorb. Not zero, that's unrealistic and will just cause resentment, but maybe half. If you get a $500 a month raise, let $250 upgrade your life and send $250 somewhere your future self controls. This single habit, deciding before the money arrives instead of after, is one of the most effective ways to interrupt the thermostat effect I mentioned earlier. And finally, get honest about which of your current expenses are functional and which are identity-driven. Not to eliminate the identity ones entirely. That's not how humans work, but to be conscious about them instead of accidental. There's a real difference between choosing a nicer apartment because it genuinely improves your daily life, and drifting into one because turning it down felt embarrassing. So here's the calm version of everything we just walked through. The fake middle class isn't a personal failure, and it isn't really about income at all. It's what happens when a normal paycheck runs into a lifestyle cost system that expands just as fast as wages do, combined with a brain that quietly resets its comfort levels every time things improve. You don't fix that by earning more and hoping the feeling of security eventually shows up on its own, because it usually doesn't, not without deliberate friction placed in the loop. You fix it by shrinking the number of financial decisions competing for your attention, building a small floor beneath you, and deciding in advance how much of every future dollar gets to upgrade your life versus protect it. That's not a flashy answer, and it won't make you rich overnight, but it's the actual difference between looking secure and being secure, and honestly, that difference is worth more than the appearance ever was.